Chuckloaf 1200 Films Podcast. All horror all the time. Hi, kitty. First we gotta discuss why in the hell did my last video get over 2,000 views when I have been averaging much less than that per video. Much less. My theory is YouTube has been pushing the Deadliest by Shudder, this new horror series. And I think they just grabbed a bunch of recently made horror-related videos and posted them in the related links. I think that's my theory. Someone else told me that maybe I was mentioned on a much more popular show, and thus I got a steady stream of quick traffic. So either way, it's appreciated, but still, I want to know why. But maybe I'll never know. Anyway, let's go on to this episode. Of course, the rating system's on the bottom. We got the dumpster fire garbage, which we will be using multiple times today, because there's a lot of poo on this episode. Then we got can't quite recommend, and then okay if desperate, and then put on the watch list, and then put on top of the watch list. Let's start with our first 2020 release. Technically, it was released in 2018 in Australia, but unless you had a Region 4 DVD player and had it shipped from Australia, it is technically a 2020 American release. So there. The Marshes, IMDb has it as a 4.1 out of 10. That's a little low. Australian, I love Australian films. Wolf Creek Rover, The Tunnel, which I've covered in episode 29, and of course Dead and Driving, which I covered in episode 31. The Marshes follows in that line. It's very good. Not great, but it's good. These three water specialists, people are checking out the swamps for water quality or whatever. And they're camping out there, even though their van's 10 feet away. I don't know why anyone wouldn't want to stay in the van. It seemed like it'd be just as comfortable. And each morning they wake up, something's a little off, something's a little different. And eventually they realize, we're not alone out here, obviously, and someone's stalking us. The only problem with this movie is the bad guy, they told us nothing. They give you 0 on why he's doing what he's doing, or who he is, or what's going on. It's just killing for killing. But it's still intense, and it's crazy, and it's nuts. And it's a good build up to the, So I would say definitely put this on the watch list. The Marshes, a good first entry in 2020. Now, the next 4 are all the underwater movies. I took some notes to make sure I could tell the difference between these movies, because some of them are very similar. So let's get going. 1989, Leviathan. Critic rating 17%. Audience score 26. Starred Peter Weller, who we all know from RoboCop. This, the creature in this film was made by Stan Winston, who is very famous for making monsters. Let's look up his work. It's pretty fascinating what he's done. But they were out investigating somewhere underwater, and they woke up something, and it got on the ship. And the thing would it would like take people, and it would like absorb them into its body. So sometimes you can see the faces of the people on its body that it absorbed, and they'd be like mumbling, kill me. It's really disturbing. But yes, it's very Alien, Sigourney Weaver Alien-esque. It's very much like that, but it's fine, no-brainer entertainment. I'd say it's okay if desperate. It's not horrible. The next one, 1989, again, DeepStar Six, critic rating of 0%. Not that there isn't a critic rating, it's there, it's just 0. Audience score of 23%. Basically, they're trying to break through the Earth's crust, and of course, they wake something up. It looks like a giant crustacean. Basically a big lobster-looking thing. And it goes after them. And it's indestructible. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got for you. Not so good. Cannot quite recommend this. Watch Leviathan. Avoid DeepStar Six. Move on. That's 1989. Lords of the Deep. There isn't a critic rating on this, but there is an audience score of 19%. Made in 89, but it looked like it was filmed in 1979. Everything looked dated and old and bad. This time, the creatures they discover at the bottom of the ocean are good. They're helpful. So when people on the ship start behaving badly, the creatures help them out. They're friendly. I know, right? Dumb. Yes, pure dumpster fire garbage. Feel free to avoid that one. Lords of the Deep. The box cover for the movie looks really cool, interesting, but the movie itself, no. And then we got the last one, thank God. 1990, The Rift. IMDb has it as a 4.7 out of 10. It does have a good cast. R. Lee Ermey played the captain, who just recently passed away. And Ray Wise, if you don't know who Ray Wise is, if you looked him up, you probably recognize him. He has been around. And this one, some guy who created this super underground submarine. It malfunctioned. It stuck at the bottom of the ocean, so they send him to go get it and retrieve it. And of course, there's stuff down there. The creature in this looked like a big evil flower. I wish I was joking. It looked like a big scary flower that would pop out of the wall and try to grab you with its tentacles and suck you into its bloom or whatever. Real bad. Everything about this movie was pretty bad. Like I said, except the cast. Cast, couldn't save it though. Dumpster fire garbage. And now we go to our feature review. Antrum, the deadliest film ever made.
This is the forest where the devil landed when he was cast out of heaven. And at that spot, we'll find the entrance to hell. The Antrum. The deeper we dig, the more the forest around us becomes darker. And with each layer that we pass, deeper in hell we'll be.
2019 Antrum, the deadliest film ever made. That is its subtitle. Critic rating of 83%. Audience score of 60%. I found this looking on bloodydisgusting.com for top horror movies that I may have possibly missed, and they had a list of top 10 horror films you probably didn't watch. So I looked through them. I had seen probably half of them, but a couple are not really available yet, and this one was available. So I checked it out, and woo! It starts with like a 10-minute documentary piece about how this film was released, and bad luck would kind of follow it wherever it went. People in the theater would die, or an accident would happen with it, and people ended up getting killed because of things revolving around this film. So this film was kind of dubbed as cursed. So it was made like it was, the actual film was actually made like it was made in the 70s, and they're just now getting a copy of it and then re-releasing it for us now. And wow, I can't remember a film that made me feel so uncomfortable. I've been racking my brain trying to find anything that compares to the uneasiness that this film. This brother sister, the boy's like 10 and she's like 16. The boy's dog dies, so she makes up the scheme to go doing this fake religious thing out in the woods, where they dig a portal to hell, and they find the dog, and that's their goal. Well, what they're doing is not exactly finding the dog, but unleashing the demon devil. So as they get deeper and deeper, and on each level, things get crazier and crazier. Each like foot or so, they dig down further. Like, oh, we're at level 1. Oh, now we're at level 2. And each level, things get stranger and stranger in their little forest. And you just know it's not going to get any better. But extremely well made. It was very believable as something made today that was supposed to be perceived as something made in the 70s. If I had watched this in 2019 and had done my list before I had made that show of the best and worst of 2019, which is also available on my channel, this probably would have been in my top 5. It would have been way up there. This was really good. Amazing. Wow. Definitely put it on top of the watch list. Antrum. The deadliest film ever made. On the next week's episode, we'll have The Class of 84, which is an 80s movie. Braid, which, looking at a lot of people's lists, this film is getting a lot of buzz as something overlooked in 2019 as a top horror film. So I'll check that out. And then our next 2020 feature, Lore, L-O-R-E, Lore, which looks to be a Bigfoot movie. And you know I have a weakness for Bigfoot films. And then we're going to cover Explorers. Yes, this is not a horror film. It's an 80s kids movie that somehow I have overlooked. It stars a very young Ethan Hawke and a very young River Phoenix. But the trailer looks awesome. So I'm going to check it out and review it. Why not, right? And then we got Tammy and the T-Rex, which is a mid-90s movie starring a very young Paul Walker. He must have been 15 in this. And then we got Psycho Cop. And then we got another one that got a lot of buzz for being good last year that I missed, called Border. I believe that's a foreign film. And then we got another Australian film called 9 Miles Down, which came out about 3 years ago, I think, which stars the guy that did the Highlander TV series, whatever the hell his name is. But that's all I got for you. Until next time, bye-bye.